morning and welcome to Good Morning Anambra. It's Tuesday episode here on ABS Television, Oka. My name is Nonya Nwokoye, welcoming you to the show today. And of course, we begin with the press review. It's good to have you on Press Review this morning. Press Review is Tuesday episode, the 18th day of April 2023. And of course, you know, this program is all about taking a look at some of our national dailies, the stories making their headlines. And of course, on ABS website, we take stories that are making headlines on our website. It's audience participatory. You have the opportunity to call and make your own input count on the show. Once again, I'm Nonya Nwokoye, welcoming to the studio Chikwelu Adigwe, who is a public affairs analyst. Good to have you.
Good morning, Nonya. Good morning, Anambra.
All right, we also have in the studio Engineer Charles Obi. Good to have you, Charles.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here today.
All right, let's kickstart with taking a look at ABS website. Let's see stories making their headlines on that platform. Ohanaeze Ndị Igbo VP Okeke Ogene asked federal government to build more dams to reduce devastating flooding. Anambra State government assists parents of quintuplets with 2 million naira. Traders at Ogbaru main market embark on general sanitation, commends Soludo on initiative. And the last but not the least is Mrs. Soludo urges female farmers in Anambra to key into free agricultural export support scheme. That's it on ABS website. Let's now look at the stories in bit. Chikwelu Adigwe, let me begin with you.
Thank you very much. I want to commend the state government for assisting the parents of what we led with 2 million naira. It's a nice development, and I believe that the individuals can follow suit because we can't leave everything for the government to be doing. I believe that the government set the pace. Then we join them in doing that in their programs. Secondly, on Ohanaeze Ndị Igbo VP Okeke Ogene asked federal government to build more dams to reduce devastation of flood. I want to say something. Nigerians, we hardly learn things so fast because the lesson from coronavirus has not taught us any lesson up to today. There's no hospital, nothing has shown that we have gathered some experiences in some certain events that happen in this country. Now we're talking about flooding. We don't even need an individual to advise the federal government or the state government to step up their game in the area of prevention of flooding. Because we all know that during that flooding, a lot of properties and lives were lost. Like in Anambra State, likes of Ogbaru, there are a lot of both mishaps and so on and so forth. So I believe that Nigeria, we need to step up our game. We need to learn we need to learn preventive measure. Because anytime I look around the events and the happenings around us, you will see that at that particular crucial time, government will be running skelter-helter as if they know what they are doing. Immediately that phase goes off, it will be forgotten. So I believe that it's a step in the right direction. It's not only federal government. The state governments can even partner with foreign bodies to establish that because this is just to control the flood.
Okay.
So, yeah, I support his opinion on the issue of flooding. You know, we are already getting into the rain again, and last year it was terrible for many parts of Nigeria, including Anambra State. This
a lot of lives.
Yeah. So I know about the flying boat that capsized and everybody on it. You know, no one survived in Anambra State here. So I think, in line with what my brother here has said, the government shouldn't always wait for emergency interventions. when the time comes, you begin to take people to IDPs. Nothing has changed. We are beginning in earnest to raise awareness, just like Okekugene and others are doing. People should be sensitized to create environments that will not endanger them in case of such devastating flooding.
In other words, the events that we pass through over time should teach us to improve on what we have on ground.
Not just from the government, individuals also should partner. Communities should partner. Communities that are prone to such invasion should also partner with the government to, save lives and then farm produce. We're talking about the wife of the governor urging women, farmers, to key into agricultural export initiatives and all that. It's an interesting one. I think in the previous administration tried out stuff like exportation of some maybe vegetables and stuff. Sitting and calling on farmers, many of them do not even know how these things are assessed. So I think we start with creating some cooperatives, okay, grouping them, give them support to even go into such a, yes, give them support, the necessary support, and when the time to harvest comes, provide them with a mechanized way of farming now, not the manual way anymore. Provide them those supports, the crops, the seedlings, whatever they need. At the end of the day, assist them also in harvesting, encourage them on how there are people, investors already on ground. I don't know if they are still around, who go around. Like sometime I accompanied the SSG office with many Reverend Fathers who went on tour of these sites in Anambra State. We went to Abatete, where you have massive land cultivated with bitter leaf in particular. And then some other places we went to see other crops growing and doing very well. So these are areas where I think the government, not just to call the people to key in, but to encourage them to, motivate them, really.
All right, we move on now to the first paper for review today, the Daily Sun newspapers. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Daily Sun newspapers. Aviation strike, passengers stranded, airlines suffer losses. And the rider there says FG begs union to call off strike. APGA crisis, police withdraw amended charge against Njoko, Justice Odeleza's secretary. And the kidnapper buries 3-year-old boy alive after collecting ransom in Katsina. Gunmen kill community leader in Kaduna, abduct 8 in Benue. Kidnappers kill victims 8, injure 3 policemen in Rivers. Nigeria spends 96.3% of 2022 revenue on debt servicing. That's report coming from the World Bank. Election Petition Tribunal strikes out case against Kalu. Stop premeditated injustice against Igbo. Archbishop Onuaga is talking. Twist in LP crisis as NLC storms Abuja Party Secretariat. We also have INEC hammer falls on wreck over Adamawa Guba results mess. With riders there, Commission suspends him for usurping returning officers' powers. PDP supporters protest, demand announcement of results. Oshimbajo warned against ethnic religious profiling in politics. Okay, and in front you can see the logo of the Sun. I think it's their 20th anniversary celebration. We say congratulations to them. We'll quickly look at the National Star before we comment. Troops foil attack on Zamfara Council headquarters. And we also have Buhari. Federal government raked in 203 billion naira through sale of 161 marginal oil licenses. FG approves use of R21 malaria vaccine. Women Affairs Minister laments diminishing representation of women in the National Assembly. Adamawa governorship tussle. INEC hammer falls on Rek Hudu Ari. Fear grips other state recs as Commission extends investigation. PDP kicks says suspension not enough, rec playing INEX script. LP crisis lingers on as court rebuffs effort to reinstate Abure. Cross River Ebonyi Zamfara top list as cholera kills 79 in 3 months. Aviation industry witnesses business gloom as workers' strike continues. JAMB extends 2023 direct entry registration. Army generals battle for power in Sudan. Crisis in Warri Kingdom as Olu Ogiame installs new Olobo Shere. Okay, that's just about it on the 2 papers. Okay, quickly.
Yeah, when we look at, because I think there's one major story here about INEX hammer falls on rec.
On the Adamawa issue.
Yes. What I would say really is that the action of Hudu in Adamawa, who is the REC, returning Resident Electoral Commissioner, has just shown us really what operates within
Can
INEC.
you say the Igbo adage that said "Newu na ata agbala"?
Oh my.
All right.
So you see what we've been talking about. Many people lament the outcome of the 25th February and 18th March elections. And all of a sudden, the supplementary election result from Adamawa State has confirmed our doubts. Okay, what INEC has within its commission are very, to say the least, suspicious, mischievous. You know, the Hudu's action, I would say, is not different. Mana ons nketa richaranti, akesekwe
Bruno kana Kitolinsi.
Good. Even Meridia, what happened in Adamawa is totally unacceptable. Yes, I read a lot of people saying congratulations, first elected female governor in Nigeria. We have that sentiment because the female folks have continued to clamor for balance. They've continued to demand equity, 50-50, and what have you. But this should not come this way. We need exemplary style of doing things from the female folks. Because if we should try them, then we should go for integrity. Binani coming with this kind of shenanigans from Adamawa is disappointing. She knows the law. As a matter of fact, Hudu also is a lawyer, is a barrister. So it exposes the weakness of the judiciary and as well the INEC. Okay. Now, I don't want to believe that he took that action based on his own convictions. He has collaborators.
But you didn't watch the video where he said that I did what I was told to do.
Good. So he had collaborators, and because he feels that the government in power at the federal level is APC and had re-elected as announced, another APC president in waiting. So impunity thrives. Everybody wants to, appeal to the government in power, party in power. And then PDP governors are agitated, they are raising alarm, speaking, some are going for solidarity visit to Fintri and all that. I want to say that they should not be disappointed. As a matter of fact, PDP has posed the worst opposition to APC. In fact, today we have the Labour Party as the major opposition to the APC government. Why? Because PDP is as guilty as the APC. So if PDP is as guilty as the APC, they do not have moral justification to stand firm. If you try it, you'll be prosecuted. Because most of them have skeletons in their cupboard. So what we're having today was laid foundation from the PDP. Over 16 years in power, impunity thrived. A lot of places, you have Anambra State here sometime when a governor was imposed on the people against the law. So INEC, I thank God the INEC has said that whatever they are going to do now will be in line with the Constitution, Electoral Act, guidelines, and the regulations of INEC.
As regards the Adamawa election,
Yes,
what
as regards
of
the
the
Adamawa
others that people are still agitating?
That's the problem we're having.
Okay,
And people are already outside protesting. So I feel we should be wary about certain actions that we take that might throw a whole system into chaos.
You know, and there's a big question that Nigerians, we have laws, we make our own laws, we can't keep them. But when we go out there, we simple laws, we follow them to the latter.
The issue in Adamawa is total assumption of powers that does not rest on the resident electoral commissioner. We have returning officer, Professor Mohammed, who is supposed to do the job. And today he's in Abuja, because after that he flew back to Abuja. And INEC is saying, we have not seen, because the matter is supposed to be heard today. He said he was the airports were grounded, the flights that he couldn't fly. So how does he, come to Abuja? How would he come to Abuja?
Okay, let's.
So that's the
okay, I think let's look
by
at
now
that.
he should be behind the bars.
Okay.
By now, Hudu should be behind the bars.
Is it only Kudu? Let's look at the issue of that aviation strike. You know, there is this saying that when two elephants are fighting, the grass is suffer. You know, look at people trekking to the airport. Only God knows, because the distance in Abuja, you know how it is. Only God knows how long or where they are trekking from, you know, the distance to the airport.
Thank you very much. I want to, first of all, make a contribution to that aviation, because it's all about workers' welfare. And as a labor leader in the state, the president of LOG in Anambra, I believe that welfare of the workers is a priority. Now, I believe Nigeria, we need to adjust, like Peter B said, adjust from consumption to production. Now, if you go to Ghana, for instance, they have a board that reviews workers' welfare with time. That's why you cannot say about strike in Ghana, it cannot be about this, because they work with the economy. So they review it on their own. So I believe that Nigeria, we have come to a level that we should have such, but allow it to be functional. Because the problem we are having today is that anytime workers must go on streets before they can get 1 naira. Workers must go on streets, they must make noise.
They don't even get after the strike.
And after the strike, you see them, they don't get. And I want to say something. A time will come when we look at our lives in retrospect. What are we going to be proud of our actions and our inaction? Because if you look at our brother, former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, you see that during elections he will be doing a lot of correspondences because because his actions in the past is hurting him. That's why he will write to INEC that should not rig elections, because he has seen the negative impact on the society. So I believe that the workers deserve the best, because whenever they have a good working environment, they have their welfare intact and so on, the productivity will be on a high rate. So must aviation workers block the airports?
And we must have curbed corruption by half, by doing that. All right, let's run. Let's look at the Punch newspaper now. In front of the Punch newspaper, we have fuel subsidy. FG begins 40% pay rise for workers, April ending. Government will settle January to March arrears later, says Labour Ministry. Increased transport, housing allowances, also TUC tells federal government. PDP governors demand Adamawa Rex trial. Beninese use INEC. External reserves slide further to $35 billion. Marginal oil field sale generated 203 billion naira, says Buhari. And in front of the paper is a striking aviation workers reject government plea, threaten total shutdown. We have $2.8 billion gas pipeline progressing to power 3,600 megawatt plant. That's coming from the federal government. Ogun woman sells 18-month-old baby to repay loan. Two parties challenge Makinde's election. Tribunal orders service on Sanwo-Olu. Okay, we also take the Daily Independent newspaper immediately. Still in front of the paper, you can see workers protesting in front of the Daily Independent newspaper. FG may spend more than $800 million earmarked for palliative. Minister explains why cost of servicing foreign debt is rising. Labour Party crisis. NLC president orders leader Bure to party secretariat in Abuja. One factional chairman, Apapa, to stay away. We also see FGOK's use of Oxford malaria vaccine, along other security forces to deal with attackers as many are killed, houses burnt in Plateau communities. Lagos Guber Tribunal okays GRV's prayer to serve Sanwo-Olu via substituted service, issuing flood warnings not enough to take action. Diri urges federal government. Without partisan corrupt officials, PDP governors tell INEC with a rider call on commission to sanction show of shame in Adamawa. A lot of stories in front of the paper. INEC has controversial Adamawa rec to stay away from office. An aviation minister warns strikes may lead to economic losses. All right, quickly.
Yeah, I want to look at the issue on 40% increase.
Okay.
You know,
pay rise for workers.
Yes, pay rise for workers.
Is it all the workers or just federal government workers? I don't know which one.
That's what they need to come clear on. You know, talking about workers, of course, we know most times when these things are done, state governors will exclude themselves and begin to talk about their purse, their financial strength, you know, and we don't take that away. It's a reality, and but yeah, civil servants in Nigeria deserves better because by the day things are rising. Cost of there's inflation.
Cost of living.
There's inflation in Nigeria presently. I think we're talking about the third phase of it in this year, and based on the statistics from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, they're talking about 0.13 as a third phase of it rise. You know, and you go to the market, things are not the same. Every day, cost of things appreciates, and workers cannot boast of any increment. This issue of we talked about minimum wage, which was debated and debated over and over again at the National Assembly. The president kept playing with it. The presidency. Finally, 2023 budget was proposed, and we saw part of it going for Nigerian workers to take effect from January this year. January has passed, February, March. Today, we're talking about April. We're in April. When Nigerian workers, the 2023 budget perhaps has been in operation, but workers cannot boast of anything coming from it. So who is delaying it? And I read what the vice president of the vice chairman NLC and who is also the president of Senior Civil Servant Association was talking about. He said that the increment is not really about the salary, but allowances, and not even all the allowances. Not all the allowances were, affected. So it's more like they called it, I think, consequential increment or whatever for 40%, and they are saying it's not enough. But for that one to even come into effect, we are yet to say it. They said the president may have signed or may not. It's not clear. There is no statement from the presidency whether they will start paying. They said they are supposed to start paying from the end of this month. The Minister of Labour has not spoken. Rather, a spokesperson from the ministry has just said that, okay, we're expecting that the president will sign and will start paying from April 2023. And then the Labour people are saying, you are supposed to pay us from January 2023.
And the Minister of Labour, I think is saying, Labour Ministry says they will settle their arrears.
So they will settle the arrears later. So
I
don't know why
March, later.
So I don't know why Nigeria will keep operating like this. People know what is right. You act as if you do not operate. I read about the president going to Saudi Arabia to get brief on election. We are in Nigeria. Why not stay here and read the posts of the people? Why travel? So, and then you go out, you play deaf and blind to the development, the system that operates over there. You should have, when you go out, travel around the world, you go to London for medical trip, you go to US for your holidays. When you go there, copy their system, how these things work, and let's implement and see whether we'll get better here. If it is divulging power to the state levels as being come of the decentralization of the system, maybe restructuring or what. If that one will be better, let's embrace it immediately. Because Nigeria is not, we are not seeing things work in Nigeria. Nigeria is not working, and it's very disheartening.
All right,
okay?
All right, we can.
They are talking about when this increment, they are still saying that it is because of subsidy that has been allegedly, that has been proposed to go by June.
Okay,
so you are giving and taking immediately.
Okay, the
you want
program
to
is
give and take
press
too.
review. Is audience participatory. We have phone lines on your screen. You can call and make your own input on all the issues you're raising here. And, there's this story here that the federal government is spending 96.3% of our revenue in servicing debt. And of course, the finance minister is saying that there is a reason, explains why cost of servicing foreign debt is rising. I don't know, this issue of borrowing in this country, I don't know.
I want to say something as regards to borrowing. Because I traveled to Abeokuta, that should be last week. When I was coming down, I saw the rubber plantations, a lot of things. Nothing is now happening there. It's just left that there. A lot of palm plantation and so on and so forth. So you notice that the reason why we are into much debt is that we left those things that has been giving Nigeria life.
Even yesterday on social media, our former MD here was, I think he was in Enugu. You know, he was Hotel Presidential. He filmed it and said that it's no longer functioning as it should. Zodiac Hotel, you know, and these are prominent hotels we had back then being handled by the government of the day.
Outside the hotels and so on and so forth, if you go to Abia State, you see cashew plantations. Like in Enugu, the Chinese people came here and established a company, Thais company. And it's a very massive one. I was asking somebody, why can't our government think towards that direction? Just if you see they come just after OG, that should be exactly what they're about, along the express route. So massive. So now what we are talking about is that we have left those things and all our attention has diverted to oil. Oil. And we are not even sincere in that oil production, because how can a whole country, Nigeria, cannot even boast of having one refinery, but individuals have theirs. So you see that's why we keep borrowing, we keep using our IGR to be servicing debt. Yes.
And they uphold that. You see the banner headline in front of the Daily Independent saying that FG may spend more than $800 million marked for palliative. And that's where the minister is saying that she explained why the cost of servicing foreign debt is rising.
We're comfortable borrowing.
Even outside that, you remember that during the electionary period, there was a vessel that was exposed inside the water. So immediately they set it on fire. You see that the corruption has eaten deep in this country. And our people are comfortable borrowing without even, because for example now, when I was passing through that rubber plantation, nothing is happening there. It was as good as dormant. If you go to cashew plant, nothing is happening there.
You see, my brother, last general election, we saw a bit diversion from the usual system.
Yes.
And the courtesy of Mr. Peter Obi, our former governor here, who came in and said, let us move from our comfort zone and try out things new. Things differently, okay? Then Nigeria can actually move from consumption to production. And that is the only solution to our problem. Until we leave consumption, anybody that is comfortable borrowing to solve problems, anybody that's comfortable, you want to eat, you go and borrow money, you want to take medical, you borrow for everything. Anybody that is comfortable doing that can never progress, because all what you have is as a result of debts. And one day, the people you owe will come and claim all what you have, and you become a stranger. You become a stranger in your own land.
In your own land.
Now, P2B said there are lands, arable lands we can cultivate. Nigeria once boasts of agriculture, massive agriculture produce that we exported. Yes, we exported a lot. Before the invention of oil, before the advent of this oil that has made us weak, unproductive. We don't even have it as much as some other countries in the world. There are some countries that, like Russia, has oil, but they don't solely depend on oil. Many countries made their oil reserve while they try out other things, okay? And that one becomes support. Okay, but in Nigeria, we have, because of corruption, let's just say it is, from genesis of it to revelation, is corruption. Because people want to, if you get productive, then you may lose the source of your own personal wealth, your self-interest. You want to say we are exporting oil, then we mine 100 and you are stealing 60. And with that 60, they come out, they become so powerful in the society, and these are many of the people we still go to. We still follow them around.
Okay.
They are everywhere.
Okay.
You know that in this country, if we have 100 containers that land in our seaports, after offloading it, the container, we have to return it empty. Because we don't export. You will just import, and return it empty. Because in a society, it's when you import, you have to fill it again and export.
So what are we exporting?
Nothing. We keep borrowing. And even Mr. Governor, when he introduced our Puete, it's a very nice development. But one thing is that I'm still expecting him to establish that company here in Anambra. Okay. So at least it will be giving us revenue here. So
all right, quickly, let's move on to the next papers. This Day newspaper. Let's look at the stories in front of This Day newspaper. COVID-19, FG effects 45.3 billion naira reimbursement to states, FCT. NAFDAC approves clinical malaria vaccine for children. INEC suspends Adamawa Rec as Binani. 6th judicial review of her announcement. With riders there, PDP gives commission 72 hours ultimatum to conclude rerun poll. Replaying Yakubu's script, articles aid alleges. Parties governors for Fonam commends electoral body for nullifying attempted coup, demands weeding out of partisan corrupt INEC officials. And we also have Buhari recounts achievements in oil, gas sector, lists PIA as biggest accomplishment, with riders there discloses 200 billion naira, $57 million raked in from sale of marginal fields. Says 2.8 billion naira AKK pipeline, 43% completed. And quickly, the next paper, The Guardian newspaper. Let's see, 40% of failed transactions unresolved as e-payments hit 49.4 trillion naira. And still in front of The Guardian newspaper, we see new wave of kidnappings amid botched naira redesigned policy. NAFDAC grants provisional approval for first malaria vaccine in Nigeria. Fresh oil output concern as ExxonMobil declares force majeure. Chinese brands dominate Nigeria's mobile phone market. Adamawa, despite REC suspension, PDP insists on protest till poll concludes. And the aviation workers reject FG's plea, disrupt flight operations over COS and welfare. Okay, I don't know if we will begin with the failed transactions unresolved, because in the midst of that cash crunch, you may go to buy fuel in the filling station. It has happened to me 2 times or 3 times. You pay with your card, they will say that it's declined at that point of sale. Then automatically they've collected the money from your bank. I'm still going for one now after 3 weeks or 1 month of deduction.
I've suffered same several times. Okay. So I just try to run over all the papers of today, you see that we can't even say there is one breakthrough for Nigeria. We never can say, oh, a breakthrough. So there is no breakthrough. There is no good news. Every day we hear bad news, kidnapping resumes in this part of Nigeria. The kidnappers here, corruption fighting around. Like president is 5 days away in Saudi Arabia. You're leaving your country like that in this kind of situation. We are just finished general election. And general election 2023 is one many people vested so much interest upon, so much hope. And after that, we thought by now everybody should be jubilating. You know, when sometimes it's not partisan in this case. I'm not being partisan. I'm not trying to build any sentiment.
Okay, I think we have to welcome the first caller. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Could you please move away from your TV set? All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from Oka.
You're welcome. Go ahead, but please bring down the volume of your TV set.
It's already brought down.
All right, all right.
Parking somewhere.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, gentlemen, I don't know. There's a mountain that says that the personality of the leader determines the followership. The personality of a leader determines his leadership style, one, and the followership. Our president is in Saudi Arabia. They are getting briefing for elections that were conducted in Nigeria. This one was in Nigeria. They gave them briefing in Nigeria. They had to travel to Saudi Arabia for people to go and briefing. But it's okay. When you have a bunch of criminals as leaders, then what do you expect? Our doctors are putting away. And our doctors are tested everywhere in the world. In Europe, in America, our doctors are welcome everywhere in the world. And Nigeria government is here, open their eyes and want our doctors to leave this Nigeria. And they say that something is not wrong with us. I don't know. I just hope that the court will do the necessary thing and do justice and let us have a good leadership in Nigeria so that we can move from all this nonsense. We are not producing anything. We are borrowing money for everything. If they borrow this money, they share this money among themselves. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
All right. All right. Thank you for your contribution.
Like he rightly pointed out, having good leadership, I was just about saying, not about political party. It could be APC, it could be PDP, it could be Labour Party, APGA, anyone.
YPP.
So far, YPP, so far, the person that's emerged is in line with people's sentiments, people's decision in that election. You'll be seeing joy. Okay, I want to compare two situations now. I followed the election in Abia State. After the results was declared, Alex Otti won. You see the jubilation. You see people, even people who were not partisan, genuine business people, people who didn't have anything, they don't even know the candidates. They were throwing parties. One woman knelt down in her shop and started praying, crying that breakthrough has come to Abia State.
Okay.
Then again, that is Labour Party. You go to Benue State, where Reverend
Father.
Yeah, the Reverend Father was declared the winner. From APC, I still follow the situation because I was trying to let me compare notes. You see people genuinely throwing parties. His home was flooded with thousands of people on a daily basis. People who came, not just Catholics, Pentecostals, even Muslims, came to party with him, came to congratulate him. Every day it was celebration.
All right. Quickly, our time is fast, but they are wanting me to round up. But let's wrap up with this issue of the government trying to, pay. He said they're going to effect 45.3 billion naira reimbursement to states and FCT. Quickly, before
that's a critical matter because I've been looking at that headline.
Let's use it to wrap up the show.
I was looking at is the reimbursement meant for the state to, is it for consumption or for them to establish something?
Production.
Because you see that COVID-19, as I said earlier, we could have learned a lesson from that menace. By now, we could have established standard hospital in the 6 geopolitical zones. Don't you see the predicament of our brother Ike for a marriage? As a result of negligence, United Children's Hospital there, opposite is local government. Nothing is there. So these are things, I don't know why federal government will reimburse 45.3 billion to states and FCT.
All right.
You
all right.
contribute to that.
Sorry, we don't have more time, please. Our time is fast spent. That's the much we can take on the press review. Would like to appreciate you so much, Chief Quello Adigwe, for being here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We also thank you, Engineer Charles Obi, for being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I want to tell our people to be ready. The rains are coming. Take advantage of it in your agricultural activities and equally be prepared for any flooding.
All right, do sit tight, for we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show.